And we are back. It's been quite a while, but we appreciate everyone joining us once again for another exciting episode of American Pylon. Your host here, Will Mehall, joined by my counterparts, as always, James Thomas Fanning IV, Tyler Combs, and our producer, David Grayson, behind all the tech making this possible. Want to start off by giving a shout-out to our new headline sponsor. That's Ed Freeman State Farm. We've actually parted ways with a recent sponsor and friend of the podcast, unfortunately, in We Go. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but we want to give Ed his fair share and due. Ed Freeman, by far the best agent in the state. We've talked about him on his show. All of us use Ed for our insurance needs. So if you've got a boat, a life, a car, or a home, be sure to check out Ed Freeman State Farm for all your insurance needs. And that brings me to the next point, which is our departure from sponsorship and partnership with In We Go. Jimmy and Tyler, you guys have decided to break off your relationship with the brand. I'm still holding strong. One of the very few that is a believer in the events that they are putting out there. Why did you guys decide to do it, and why are you leaving me hanging every time I wanted to do something in Atlanta?
My thing with it was I just wasn't using it enough. They did go down to 3 events per month, but I probably honestly was only getting about 3 anyway, so that wasn't that big of a deal. But I feel like the quality fell off a little bit. I've been traveling a lot on the weekends.
I'll tell you what happened is after the Super Bowl, they had a real big, almost like last hurrah of all the events that were here in town for the Super Bowl.
You're like, now we're just going to screw
And the
it.
Super Bowl weekend was lit, though. Super Bowl weekend was awesome.
That made it all worth it.
That carried me through like 4 months because
Exactly.
I was like, well, I got like 6 months worth of dues of value out of that weekend between Brunch Fest, Mimosa Fest.
Yeah.
That was the same thing. Beer Fest. We saw Migos and Lil Jon.
Yeah, we did.
That was very
Snoop Dogg
fun.
was here. They had that NFL, what do you call it? Tailgate, I guess, at Cincinnati Olympic Park.
I also will say there's almost a 0% chance we make it all the way through this podcast without Kicks unplugging
Because we still have a terror of an animal in our house
So
here.
ideally, it's only sound that really is.
But yeah,
or video,
but anyway,
guess.
so I guess I'm with Jimmy. I just felt like looking forward,
Wouldn't be the worst thing.
looking forward on the schedule. It just wasn't that much that I, unfortunately, was too intrigued with until like baseball season rolls around or like Atlanta United, and then when the changing in the business model there, which who am I to tell them how to run their business? It just it was a no for me.
They do still have all the Braves games, though.
It
I was a better Braves fan last season than I have been this season. But
yeah,
the Braves
it's
are kind
easier.
of running
It's
away
easier to do that
with the East right now. So, I mean, it's kind of a fun time to be a Braves fan as long as we're not playing the Royals, I think, swept us last week.
Yeah, and we just lost the opener last night to the Nationals, unfortunately. We're going to play tonight. It's Julio Teheran versus whomever, I don't know. But yeah, and as you can see as well, so, again, premium or main sponsorship with Ed Freeman State Farm. As you can tell, there's been a few changes if you're watching, if you're tuning with us on YouTube. There's been a change here to the studio.
Upgraded table.
We're working with a skeleton skeleton resources here. So the lack of funding has kind of hit us a little bit, but we all are independently wealthy with some passive income, so we don't really need
wealthy.
that money. But Sudbury's kind of in a transition stage.
Only
for
the
studio.
table has changed. I just want to be clear that
And
it's
the-
just
and-
a different
and the chairs.
table.
How
We
the
are-
And the chairs
tables.
and your desk, David. Your
We are
desk
no
has totally
longer-
changed.
My setup's nicer over here.
We're
got
no
an
longer
office chair.
able to compensate producer Dave for his efforts, so we
Yeah.
appreciate him
We got
doing
him-
this pro bono.
we got him
because
some,
we've been paying him handsomely the last year,
True.
but he's doing this for free right now as a
And-
favor to us.
And also
And to you as the fans.
Yeah, well, also, before we, and to round out into we go, we do have some listeners that still, Cole Erickson and some other folks that are definitely still doing the In We Go thing. So shout out to In We Go for one last final time for at least giving us a lot of good memories and fun times. But shifting into that, we've also had to let our intern go, RIP to our summer intern. But that's because school's starting back up.
What was her name?
And so was it
Tatiana.
Tatiana?
She did a really good job.
She did. So, I mean,
She's
lot
back to
of
school
good
now.
experience.
She's a nursing major at Georgia
Bust it
State.
down.
A lot of good experience, a lot of
Bust
good
it down.
managerial stuff, though. So, keep her in your thoughts and prayers as she finishes out her senior year.
I'm going to go ahead and chime in here because
Back to In We Go. I see
Yeah.
you got In We Go up on your
you
phone.
two have made the departure. I've decided to stay strong with In We Go, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I just made a big move to inside the perimeter.
Yeah, that's pretty
Let's have a
exciting.
round of applause for me
Moment
for
of
now
silence for Will.
becoming, yes, inside the perimeter.
Also, Will's new place may end up being our new studio.
We're getting to sports in a minute, guys, so
Figure
just
that
hang in
out,
here. We
yeah.
got a lot of life catching up because it's been a while.
it's been a while.
We got like Jack Kennedy and Dr. Brent Johnson hanging on at this point. Probably
Yeah.
Cole.
I thought your grandma was her grandmother was an avid listener.
My parents are too.
We might have lost Nana with these big
Oh, she
hiatuses
is
we've been taking,
rest-
but I'll text her.
I'll she's still
text her.
alive.
No, yeah, I lost her as a listener.
Yeah.
She's kicking. She goes on walks every single day. Turned
Yeah.
86 recently, I believe.
Okay.
No. We're going to be drumming up some marketing campaigns to get Nana back. But, so I have stuck with In We Go. The reason being is I made a move, and I'm actually now only about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from the Battery. So the fact that a lot of those events
The Battery.
are around the Braves, it's like, okay, that's an easy thing to do. They always had good seats. And when you're paying $30 a month, like if you go to a couple games a month, like that pays for itself.
Yeah,
The
they did always give us good seats, so we'll give them that. When you're going with somebody to really sit in the seats they give you and watch the game, that it is they do a good job. I feel like we tended to find ourselves in the Chop House. Was the only thing when we would go.
Yeah, that's fair. The only other thing, though, and I was kind of bummed, so I actually had tickets through In We Go to go to the Blink-182 Lil Wayne concert this past weekend, which I was really looking forward to. More so, honestly, for the Blink-182 side of things, like a nostalgic.
They're the headliner. That kind of surprised me. Wayne was the opener.
Well, he originally
would y'all have
walked.
picked that? Or
Well, I feel like Blink-182's got staying power since it's been in this through the 90s.
I agree as well. Like, I think that they are more there. Everybody can relate to Blink-182 for nostalgia reasons. Lil Wayne definitely was at the top of his game, but I think you have like this new change in rap and the sound that I don't know if it lends itself to his audience anymore. But either way, I really wanted to go, but I was actually making that move this past weekend, so the move sort of overcame
That'll happen.
the ability for me
ran out of
to.
time.
Yeah, we essentially just ran out of time, but I'm going to give it another month or two, see what happens.
Well, welcome to the perimeter, Will.
Yeah.
In We Go is happy to have you.
Hey, it's great
welcome
to be
the
here.
show. I went and saw last Monday, I guess, in the vein of Blink-182. They're not the same at all, but I get them mixed up sometimes. I saw Third Eye Blind at Chastain.
Oh, I love Third Eye
That was
Blind,
really
dude.
fun.
I love.
Yeah,
That
surprise!
was with
They
Jimmy Eat World, right?
Yeah.
I did
They
skip
opened
Jimmy Eat
for 'em.
World. I
What?
didn't go there. I didn't.
I don't think Jimmy's ever seen a full concert.
Not a big opener guy.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big
What were
drinking beer in the parking lot.
That's what
Drinking-
that's what you were doing.
Drinking his own affordable beer is the key here. I think.
Yeah, I didn't want to go
Well, I'm
pay
rich, so
$10 a beer for an hour and a half to hear The Middle, because that's literally the only song I know. by them.
Sweetness.
I don't know. Do you know that song?
Mm-mm.
Are you
in
serious?
fact, when you said the middle, I thought of
The Maren
Zed
Morris song?
and Maren Morris, which I did see in concert and got to hear that song in concert. So,
Dude,
anyway,
I can't believe that
Third
you
Eye
would.
Blind was good though. I really enjoyed them. Are we sure that
That's Jimmy Eat World.
is it? Now I remember one time we did this where we were playing sounds through your computer and they didn't actually record.
You want to go ahead and sing it for us?
Well, I feel like there's a chance our listeners are just listening to dead air right now, because I don't know for sure that the music you play actually records.
Well,
we'll find out.
It's certainly a distinct possibility. However,
tomorrow.
everybody else out there knows what sweetness sounds like, so they could literally envision that in their mind. However, you somehow don't know what that sounds like.
No,
So that's
but
what
I
it
do
is.
know what Jumper and Semi Charmed Life sound like live.
Crystal
Sound pretty
Baller.
good. Still got. They did play Crystal Baller.
It's a great song.
They played that real early. They played that as we were walking in. So that
I
was
love that
cool. It was like
song.
an intro song for me.
I'm going to John Mayer.
I'm going to John Mayer.
Hell yeah.
very
Nice. Eric and Jody are going to that too.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Dude, we should do a
When
tailgate
is
prior.
Sunday, August 11th, I think.
I don't know.
I've
I'm really.
always
Sundays
wondered
from
this.
now.
How do you tailgate for like a John Mayer concert or literally
I don't
anything
know. I
other
feel
than
like
a
you go
country
to-
music
I guess
concert?
you go to Stats, or you. I don't know.
So go to let's go eat before we go to the concert.
Is it at
Is it
State
Phillips?
Farm?
State Farm. Yeah, sorry. It's at Ed Freeman Arena.
Ed Freeman State Farm Arena.
Interesting. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm getting some feedback here on my.
Ran a wind tunnel all of a sudden. All right, we fixed it. Good job, producer Dave.
See, this is why we missed Tatiana. I mean, this kind of stuff did not happen
Yeah.
when she was.
Honestly,
out there to
since we
help
stopped
David.
paying producer Dave, he's kind of mailing it in at this point.
I mean, he's got armrest for
I don't
God's
know.
sakes at this point.
I don't know how we could tailgate for that, but we should certainly try and find a way to do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that concert. I've never seen John Mayer live
I've never
before.
seen him either.
I know David has. I remember you saw him at
Was it a good
Lakewood
show?
a few years ago, right?
Good
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, it was. He's always. I mean, he's one of my favorites. I know, but
I mean, great artist, like guitarist, a musician, and an artist.
yeah,
right?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people just think of the old John Mayer. Your body is a wonderland type of John Mayer, but in these like later concerts, he really breaks out that axe and just starts. He did the tour with Grateful Dead and all that. So
Yeah.
like, it's not the gravity over and over and that type of.
He's playing 2 full sets, so he's basically opening for himself.
That's awesome.
I think he's going to come on exactly when the concert starts, play where an opener would traditionally play, take an intermission, and then play his full
awesome.
set. So he doesn't have an opener at all.
He did that in what was it? The Continuum album or one of those. He was the opener, like the middle opener and the final act.
Really?
I mean, it's a total John Mayer move, but like it was
classic
It
John.
was, it was pretty cool because the first
John.
I call him John.
the first set was all acoustic,
Oh,
and,
nice.
then, and
Okay.
so it like built into his like full band over the course of the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that concert though, and then
Get
I'm
your
going
money's
also to see the Revivalists at the Fox at the end of August,
Okay.
which would be pretty fun. They're one of my favorite bands, so it's fun to still get to see them when they're playing venues that are that small because I think that eventually they'll be Lakewood, State Farm type guys.
Saw the Nutcracker in the Fox this past Christmas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fun.
It's great. Free tickets is great.
I saw Aziz Ansari at the Fox
Really?
this past, like the tour that he's on right now. It just hit Netflix, but they filmed it in Brooklyn, so it wasn't the show I was at. But same act.
Greta Van Fleet played the Fox.
My uncle is really into them. I've
They're
listened to them a
really.
little bit.
I mean, they're basically like a Led
They're
Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin of our generation.
But there's not many people that have that kind of sound. I know they get a lot of flack because it's like, well, you're basically a clone. But at the same time, I think, I like that sound. Like, that's classic rock. So it's kind of fun to have something that's a modern take on that. I don't get to as many concerts as I would like.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like I don't actively seek them out or whatever. But I'm going to try and make a point to do it more this year. I know that Elton John is playing in November as a farewell tour, probably one of many.
Yeah.
One of
Farewell to
one of 5.
tours to
I
come.
saw that one.
You saw his farewell tour? Mm-hmm. How long ago was that?
Like 3 years ago.
Was it the first farewell
No, it was
Where?
It was this current tour?
Thanksgiving. It was like right at the beginning in this past Thanksgiving.
Did you see it in
Almost a
Florida
year
when you were in
Yep.
Stacey were at a wedding or something?
Or it was just Thanksgiving.
How was
but
it?
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
I mean, tickets are fairly expensive. I think they're like $350, $400.
You're rich.
Dang.
What? Oh, well,
I think Fleetwood Mac
Not in
was
Florida.
similar to that.
How much are they?
Like $350 or $400, which is a
Here's-
lot
get
for.
this,
That's a lot for general. Like, just
Jess
up top
is
scene.
she's really into Ariana Grande, and when she came to Atlanta, it was cheaper for us to. We flew to Indianapolis and saw her in Indianapolis for cheaper than seeing her in Atlanta.
Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to the perimeter, Will.
That was a fun little 24-hour trip, though. We got down in the pit. We were like right there. She was singing. to
Nothing
me.
against Jess or her taste in music, but you couldn't pay me to go see Ariana Grande.
I think you could pay
You can-
you could pay me.
Yeah, seriously.
You pay me
If somebody
too.
wants to pay somebody to see Ariana Grande, you can pay me.
You can
Don't
find
bother-
me.
Well,
I'll
she
go
was
with Jimmy.
awesome. She was so good live. I think her and Bruno Mars are the two most talented like singers out there lately.
Just because you've watched SNL skits.
Yeah, because basically that's why I've seen the people they choose to do the Pandora skits. That automatically means you're
That's fair.
the voice of a generation.
I'd agree with Bruno Mars. I have no idea.
I would
about
agree with
Ariana
Bruno
Grande.
as
Ariana
well, but-
Grande's got some pipes. She was
Yeah.
very, very good.
Mhm.
And of course, got to spend the day in Indianapolis, the city of angels,
Very nice. Oh,
Sin
I
City.
thought it was a city of love.
the
yeah.
Big Apple,
Mm.
all of those
Sunshine
things.
State.
Indianapolis,
City of Lights.
Indiana. Yeah, Indianapolis, kind of a nothing city, but went to some breweries. Had a good time at that concert, but that
Yeah.
was I don't know what it is about Atlanta as a music scene, but when she came here, the tickets were $350 ish as a get in. They're very expensive for John Mayer right now. Actually, I looked today. I was just curious. I bought the tickets way back when,
Hmm.
but they're like up in the high 200s.
He's also doing the same exact Dead and Friends tour this year. So I was trying to debate, like, should I go to...
Well, they've come and gone.
Have they-
Dead,
have they already?
Dead and
Okay.
Company was
So
like 3 weeks ago.
So I knew it was going to be, like, in a fairly close timeline. We got those tickets for his single tour.
Yeah.
But it was like, do we want to get him for the Dead and Friends? And it was like, we'd probably it'd be better to see him just on his own.
Here's something Tyler and I were laughing at the other day, because I think all four of us have been together to these concerts. Luke Bryan played in Atlanta on Friday night, and I found out that he was playing that concert Friday afternoon. And I feel like 6 years ago when we were in college, we would have all had tickets to that 6 months ago. Been looking forward to that for 6 months. And
Yeah.
I
saw him
know
once.
I've seen his concerts with all three of y'all individually.
Tyler would have had a countdown on Facebook.
Seriously.
Never.
13 days remaining.
No, it would have been on my Zenga. Okay, have it embedded. Really
Tyler
nice.
and I have seen Luke Bryan together 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, it was
Back
up there,
when
but
he
it was
was good,
It
back
was so
before he
much
sold
fun.
out.
I don't think we had a bad time, except for the last time.
I saw him once. I think that was
I was there. It was us. It was us three at
Was it all
Lakewood.
three of us? Yeah.
Wasn't
You
it?
only saw him that time at Jimmy's birthday,
Summer
like 5
16.
years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah. That was enough.
Wow,
The Athens one was the best.
that was the
Those
best.
farm tours were very fun.
Yeah.
The very first one was BYOB.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
That was fun. That was a good
Speaking
time.
of seeing shows, I saw Aladdin and The Lion King.
I have not
here
seen
within the past
Aladdin yet.
week.
I saw
I've
Lion
also
King.
seen
I haven't
both.
talked to you though.
Yeah.
I talked to Tyler and his new fiance.
Oh yeah,
Congratulations
Thank
to
you
Tyler.
guys.
That
yeah.
is a
Pulling the
huge
trigger.
step.
Yeah, we're
Got that
gaining
coming
a
up.
getting another member of the American Pylon family.
Oh yeah.
So
Got to put a ring on it all the way first, but she can come on.
yeah,
Right after
no,
the
yeah,
wedding?
nothing before the wedding, of
Yeah.
course.
Naturally.
But I talked
got
to
get it
y'all
across the finish line first.
Before you guys went and saw the movie, but I haven't talked to you since. So
Yeah,
What'd you think?
I really liked it.
I
I really
enjoyed
enjoyed it. Talked to listener and
Which
Dr.
movie were
Johnson,
we talking
Brent.
about here?
Lion
We'll start
King.
with Lion King.
I have not
We've
seen
all
Aladdin.
seen that.
Okay, so this is Lion King you're talking about.
So I know we're a sports podcast. We're going on a huge tangent right now. We'll get to sports in a little while. Maybe we're competing against Howard Stern at this point. I'm not sure.
I don't even
Little
care.
talk- yeah,
This
okay.
is, this is our
anyway.
podcast. I can do whatever
That's
we
a
want.
good, that's a good point. Thank you, Will. But I liked it a lot. After talking to Brent, there's a few things I agree with because Brent was not as high on
Brent had some.
On
He did.
Lion King?
Y'all
Yeah.
analyze these
He
things
had
way
some
too much.
scathing.
I thought it was great.
takes for
They
the
grew up with
movie.
it. I thought it was great. I thought the casting was great. I liked all the voices. I think all the songs were good except for one. Scar song was not
Yeah,
as
it's terrible.
Not
The
as
Be
strong.
Prepared song?
Yeah,
You might as
So I
well have
didn't-
just written an
Isn't
essay.
the song in
and read it.
Anastasia called "Be Prepared" also, where the bugs are like ooh ah ooh? Isn't that song called? Be Prepared?
I know what you're talking about.
I know that one by.
In the dark of the
Just to
night.
hear that.
I don't know.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But no, I really did like it. I thought the casting was great. I like Donald Glover. I thought
I like Donald Glover a lot.
I thought all the songs were great. I did after talking with Brent. I thought the opening scene was kind of like it wasn't as strong. Like it was. I thought the volume was very quiet or something at first. I don't know why that was, which is a very particular thing. But
I felt like the person they chose to sing that song was better in the original.
you thought the opening
Just the Circle of Life. I
Oh,
felt like
okay, yeah.
the song was better in the cartoon.
Oh, yes, that one I would agree with. But I liked all the new songs. I thought those would be great sing-alongs for kids or whoever wants to get into Disney now. I appreciated how much, to the T, they copied the first movie. From the intro to, every little
I
bird
like that
or,
too. And that's why it's gotten the most negative reviews. Is I guess people are
'Cause
saying it
it's-
wasn't bold enough. They're like, why are you remaking such a classic if all you're going to do is use CGI? But I think if they had changed a bunch, those same people would be like, why would you mess
Right.
with a classic?
Right. It's just hard. So I appreciated that. I thought the movie looked great. Again, I thought all the casting was fine. I enjoyed it. And we walked out. I walked out very satisfied with the movie. In fact, I know we'll get your opinion
I
in
feel
a
like
minute.
Will is just like
He doesn't like it. I can
building
tell.
his case
But
right here.
I liked all the remakes so far. I liked Jungle Book. I liked Lion King. I liked Beauty and the Beast. I've enjoyed all of the remakes, and I would say this is the one that they've truly stuck to. To the T, to the second, every little scene was almost the exact same, which is very updated. Whereas Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin definitely took some swings on some brand new songs and some totally different, things within the story, within the plot. But I thought they did it well. This one was just almost the exact same remake, just updated.
The only thing that updated a little, which I thought was a big positive because I liked it, was Timon and Pumbaa's banter was a little different than the original movie.
It was more current.
I thought they were so funny.
Yeah.
I thought Billy Eichner, I think is his name.
Was that Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen was
As
Pumbaa,
Pumbaa?
and
Okay, I
then
thought so.
Billy
Yeah.
Eichner, who
Timon?
that was Timon. He's
Timon.
kind of famous
Right.
from YouTube. He's on Parks and Rec in a small role, but
What did he do in Parks and Rec?
he is like Leslie's position at that really snooty town that I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but
Will,
he
what'd you think?
I thought he was hilarious as Timon.
Yeah, so I saw Aladdin and I saw Lion King within the same week, and I went in with pretty low expectations for both of them, just because obviously, like everybody else out there, I loved both of those movies growing up. I'll say that Lion King, I think it was tougher to please, just because that was such a great movie just to begin with, and when you're going to make a quote unquote live action and basically just go from cartoon to computer,
CGI.
What are you really gonna do? You're not introducing a new element of real humans to have to adapt a plot and a movie and a script and all that kind of stuff too. So it
It was
was
just something fun to look at while you watched a movie that you already know you like.
Yeah, so what did you want live animals? Because I don't think that would be.
no. I just don't. I don't know that the live action Lion King could have really done it better for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I saw it and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's great. I think you might have been there when we went and they re-released the original in theaters in college.
Yeah, they did it in 3D.
Yeah.
That's when we witnessed it. Yeah, I've seen Lion King was my first movie ever.
That's
so
same
I've
for
me too. In
Same for me.
theaters?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
theaters.
Yeah, I went with my dad when I was 3 years old.
Okay, yeah.
My
That's
grandma
funny.
took me. Yeah, it's my first movie as well.
That's all three of our
Yeah.
first movies
That's
ever.
too
That's
wild.
too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it came out I think July of '94.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
so
went
I
with
think
my
I was
great aunt and
3
uncle.
and like a couple months.
Yeah. So it's like a really, really special movie.
Yeah, same here. So I've now gone to see Lion King when it first came out, the 3D version when they re-released it when we were in college, and now again on this. So I mean, I see what you're saying because I agree with other people when they not agree. I see their argument by nothing changed. I already knew what I was getting. I was hoping to at least see a little something different, a little more effort giving to something I'm going to pay to see. But I appreciated. It's a good story and it's updated, and why not? I mean,
I agree with Jim. I think that the Timon and Pumbaa thing was great. I wish Scar's song would have been better. I wish the opening would have been stronger.
Yep. That's all I have for Thorns.
I mean, that was really it.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I didn't notice Beyonce being a strong or a weak voice actor. I thought she was just
Yeah, I thought the
there.
same thing.
Apparently, she's gotten like pretty poor reviews
I didn't
as an
notice anything
actress.
like
I thought Donald Glover and her were fine.
I think Donald Glover
I
was
enjoyed
great.
it. Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I didn't have anything negative or like super positive to say about the voice actors
Yeah.
or anything. I think it was more of just like how they leveraged the CGI as opposed to what they had to begin with.
Well, I
in
would
the
just. I mean,
cartoons.
would you rather just not have made anything?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously, we can all agree
Rather
it's
just
just kind
stare
of
at a wall for 90
This
minutes.
is kind of
Will?
a money grab, but I feel like when you
Definitely.
decided to pay for tickets, you knew what you were going to watch. You weren't going to go see live animals.
I liked.
No, I mean that's not what I'm saying
and you,
at
but
all.
you wouldn't want the story to be changed.
No, but I just think that like because with Aladdin, and I know Jim you haven't seen it.
I have
correct?
not seen Aladdin.
So I won't like get into it, but there were certainly elements that changed from that to adapt it to make it because it is a live action. So I don't know. Maybe I was expecting a little bit more of that. I did like the battle at the end of Lion King a lot. Maybe I'm not remembering it as well with the cartoon version, but I feel like there wasn't as long of a drawn out battle between between the hyenas and the lions. So maybe I just don't remember that, but I feel like with this movie they did a really good job, and I'm a sucker for battle scenes. So
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah.
I like the hyenas' voices too. I think one of them was like Key and Peele, and then the other one was somebody else
I
that
didn't recognize them at all.
But I thought the two boy hyenas, like not the girl is in charge, and then they have the two. Like
Eddie,
is the
or Ed,
one,
yeah.
in the original. I don't think he even talks. He just kind of slobbers and laughs.
Yeah.
But they had them actually have like a back and forth dynamic in this movie that I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. Like, I'll probably end up getting it when it comes
I'll
out.
probably end up paying.
I
for
really
it.
liked the just can't wait to be be king scene.
Yeah, okay.
Because Simba and Nala were playing with all the other baby animals. I really liked the baby hippo. Really liked the baby cheetah.
bigger than the baby animals.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I was like every time I knew the scene was coming up, and I was like, I was looking forward to like the elephant graveyard when I get there, or how was a scene with I just can't wait to be king going to look like, because like that was very animated and them on top of animals and stuff.
They did a good job.
So
with that.
I loved the little adaptations of what they did to do.
I was curious if they were going to have like the hippos standing on top of the ostriches,
right, and like
they
spraying
did
water and all that stuff. So that
'cause
would,
it was
I think
so
that
over
would
the
have ruined
top.
it. I think,
Yeah.
I think, like if they would have copied it to that degree, it would have been ruined. But for the most part, for like animal movement and all that kind of stuff, or as real as you can get with a lion not eating everything in sight that's right there in the desert,
Yeah.
or in the jungle.
I also
or whatever.
like the is it called In the Jungle or The Lion Sleeps Tonight or whatever?
Yeah.
I like that scene, how they developed it, and you had like the little sugar glider come
Yes.
up and stare right in the camera, and
Yeah.
then the way Nala interrupted it
Yeah.
all and stuff. I thought that was
That
was really well done.
I knew that was coming, so I was like, "Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump."
I
don't
jumped.
jump. And I totally, she still did, and I jumped. I was surprised. I really did like the incorporation of Beauty and the Beast when they have to distract the hyenas. He's like, "Oh,
He starts to sing BRS. That was pretty funny.
Guys,
love
I went to France. I went to Paris for the summer. I got this. He
Oh,
goes,
wow.
"Ma chérie,
It's the same.
mademoiselle." It was great. And then they did a little tease for "Be Our Guest."
Yeah,
That was
before
great.
he ran away. I thought it was
That was
funny
great.
how Pumbaa, when the hyenas called him fat, he all of a sudden he was like, he had this whole speech and he was
Yeah.
like, "But I'll always stand up to a bully," and I was like, that's pretty
That was-
updated for the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was a little bit of pandering.
Great message,
too.
but pandering for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So without giving too much away, I do want to talk a little bit briefly about Aladdin because, again, it's been a while since we've had a chance to kind of talk through this stuff. So I want to get your feedback and opinions on what you thought about the movie.
Dude, I love people were giving Will Smith crap. I loved Will Smith.
I loved
as
Will
Genie.
Smith. Yeah.
Granted, I know it's not Robin Williams, but I thought he was great.
Who better could you have gotten?
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah,
when
exactly.
I saw that, I was like,
Who do you
dude,
pick?
he was awesome.
I thought the same thing.
And I went in with such low expectations. I was like, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way you're going to be able to replace Robin Williams and the stuff that he did. But I saw it. I was like, dude, that was awesome.
He was great, good humor. The guy can sing still, obviously, from his past. Anyway, I thought it was really good cast for that. And then I did not like the very end. The very end of the battle ass fighting scene.
Yep.
That was the only letdown. I agree with you. When you incorporate the human element and having like choreographs and like dancing, and I'm not into the theater or any of that stuff, but like for a movie and a movie we grew up with, to see them update it and redo it, I thought all that stuff was great. And like the Prince Ali march, that was just it was so theatrical and fun.
I thought they did a great job of adapting that to the human element, and then the celebration. I guess that it was that evening where they were in the courtyard and everybody was like dancing, and he makes Aladdin go out there and do the dance.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of falling for her handmaiden, which I thought was a good little addition to the story.
Oh, how it opened like that. How the movie opens and then it leads into.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away, but I thought that was a great adaptation and a little change to how they were telling the story of Aladdin and the lamp. I thought I thought they did a really good job. But the whole thing, I wish Jafar would have been a little more
evil.
Yeah, it
I
felt
agree.
a little too. I'm not trying to be too bad. I just want what I want.
He's like, oh, I'm just a political actor that happens to be making a move.
I didn't like that.
And I was like, okay, you need to be like a hardcore evil dude that's willing to burn everything to the ground.
I wanted a little more of that, but I did like the movie as a whole for sure. And Jasmine was a babe. That was a great cast.
Agree. I think every character except for maybe Jafar and the way he acted was good. I missed Jafar didn't do the song where when he banishes Aladdin to like Antarctica or whatever. You remember that song that he had
in this movie?
No, in the original.
I do.
And he like tees off with his.
Yes, I remember that.
And he launched so he didn't have that. And then the big one for me, and I think you're probably in the same boat, was the end kind of battle scene.
Yeah, that was.
I was like,
cheesy.
That was
me.
really not a good way to end that.
Yeah.
And I totally understand what they were trying to do with a lot of different components of it. Like there was certainly a female empowerment with, the way that, again, not trying to give too much away, but that they incorporated with Jasmine. But again, I think the end battle scene left a lot to be desired. I was very disappointed with the way it ended. But I think as a whole, with such a big classical movie in play and an adaptation to real people, I do think they did a great job, and I think Will Smith was the best guy they could have gotten for that gig.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who the actor is for Aladdin. I thought he did a great job too.
He was awesome.
I could definitely see them getting more of that. But again, I've liked all of them. I like Beauty and the Beast. I know we're really nerding out on some childhood Disney movies here, but
Mulan's coming down the pike.
So Mulan,
I heard they're going in a way different direction.
It's going to be
stupid.
It's
going to be awful.
It's not going to have like the song stuff, which I'm not like a sing along guy in the theater, but still that stuff's fun. And
I feel like I'll make
a
man out of you. It's like
they're not going to have Mushu.
Well, they're not having Mushu, and then they're not going to have make a man out of you because. If you can see in the trailer, she's fighting, and she's a girl the whole time.
Yeah, she doesn't pretend
to be a man at all.
Oh, okay.
So
that's stupid.
Which say what you want.
That's just basically a different movie at that point.
Exactly.
But it should still be good.
I'll go see it. I will. But I agree. It doesn't upset me. It's just I wish.
Well, it upsets me. I loved that original movie.
I did too. And it was great as it was.
And honestly, that's one of my favorite soundtracks.
Same here.
The Christina Aguilera she has when she's in the garden, and then Christina Aguilera does the cover. Both those songs are great.
They are playing the tune of that song during the trailer. So I think that might make
the When Will My Reflection Show song.
I think that might make an appearance.
Great song. The Make a Man Out of You, great song.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. The
I will
soundtrack's
say
probably
that
the best.
Tarzan objectively has the best Disney movie soundtrack.
I would say Tarzan or Lion King
in my opinion.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I think Tarzan's great because it has 3 really good songs from Phil Collins in it.
Yeah, I think Phil Collins sang the entire soundtrack, didn't he?
I don't know about that.
I think it's a full-on Phil Collins CD.
I don't know, but I
my mom had it in her car in like 3rd grade.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I still listen to it.
On the way to school every day.
Hercules was also underrated.
Hercules was very good. Ooh,
when are they gonna make a live action of that?
Hercules. I feel like it's gonna be
The Rock. Again.
No, he's already played Hercules,
Yeah, but that wasn't
not
like
the Disney
Disney,
version.
yeah.
I could see it being that guy that married Miley Cyrus that was
I don't know who
in
that
the
is.
Hunger Games.
Yeah, one of the
Not PETA, but the other guy from Hunger Games.
no, I thought
Miley Cyrus was
Thor's,
not
yeah,
in
Thor's
the
little
Hunger Games.
brother.
yeah, it's the Hemingway brother, not Hemingway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Oh,
Liam
okay.
Hemsworth.
Hemsworth. Thank
That's
you.
his name. Because Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
We're getting
Okay.
it together.
Not Loki, not character Thor. The actual actor's little brother.
Yeah.
I feel like he could play Hercules.
He's in.
pretty well.
Yes, I know you're talking about. That's interesting choice.
There's another Maleficent coming out.
I saw that. I don't know if I don't understand the whole angle of Maleficent. Yeah, because it's not Sleeping Beauty, it's not Snow White, but she's like the bad guy, kind of playing the role of all. I don't understand where she fits into the whole thing, and it's from the evil Queen Witch, whatever's role. I don't understand that at all.
It's like kind of like Broadway's Wicked, right? Isn't Wicked
I
the Wizard
guess.
of Oz from
I'll tell you
the bad witch's perspective?
I think so.
Me being a very culturally inclined person and just of the arts now in my days in my older age.
In that same draw.
Yeah. There is, or when we were going to see Lion King, there's a trailer for Cats, which I've never been interested in seeing the play of Cats. What did you think of that?
I thought it looked really weird.
It is, but I was kind of intrigued. I was surprisingly intrigued by it. Like, it ended, and I was like, I thought to
They got some
myself,
big name actors.
They do.
They got Taylor Swift. Well, not actors. Taylor Swift's in it.
James Corden's in it.
Taylor Swift has very cat-like features.
I was like, you don't even
I
need
feel like
to
she'll
use
fit.
CGI
Yeah.
when I
That's
saw
fair.
that.
Well, the trailer ended, and usually I'm like, When it ended, I looked at Melissa, and I was like I was shocked by my even response. Like, I'm actually intrigued by the trailer they put up there.
I mean,
Never had an
I'll give
interest in
anything
seeing
a
that
shot.
play.
Like, I like musicals. I thought The Greatest Showman was an awesome movie. Did you guys ever see that?
I've never seen that.
I
I
haven't, and
know
Brent
that
can't believe
Dr.
we
Brent
haven't.
Johnson
Yeah.
is obsessed with that soundtrack.
Love that
I had to use
movie.
my Amazon Prime to ship him the soundtrack on vinyl
Love-
to Asheville when he lived there.
Love that movie. You guys should definitely see it. It's a good date night movie. But without getting too far into that, I do like musicals, so like I might give that a shot. It's one of the most successful, if not the most successful, I think, behind Phantom of the Opera on
Really?
Broadway.
I think the writer of that is involved with the movie. of
And
this.
Andrew Lloyd Webber, I think, also did the music for this, which he did for Phantom of the Opera. So
Which Melissa got me to
Interesting.
watch Phantom of the Opera because we were going to New York the last time. We were trying to decide on a show to go see. So she's like, well, let's watch the movie first, see if there's any interest. And I actually enjoyed Phantom of the Opera.
The one with,
what did y'all end up seeing?
We didn't end up seeing anything at all because tickets
okay.
were way too expensive.
Well, at least you got
That's
to watch
really-
a couple movies.
But now I do want to go. But
Yeah.
this is another kind of
you saw
easy
the
way to
one
lean
with
into it.
Gerard Butler.
Yes, I think so. Maybe
Which is
like
surprising, 'cause
2011 or 10. Something like that.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's
I
really
enjoyed
good.
it too. The only other Phantom of the Opera I've seen was Phantom at the Megaplex, Disney Channel.
love that.
original movie.
DCOM?
Yeah, DCOM.
Love
Might need to
that.
circle
Yeah.
back to our
low key under the
our Mount
radar
Rushmore of DCOMs.
Dude,
It's been about a year. I
That's
guess we
a-
can update that.
dude, great drop. No, and that's
Yeah.
a great movie no matter what. So,
Anyway, but
Yeah.
as far as musicals, that one intrigued me too. But it's funny because when you go to a movie, everyone knows the trailers you see are always going to be a little more geared towards what you're watching.
Yeah,
so,
for
like,
sure.
of course, they're going to show this a musical with animals being played by people. So
For
that was
sure.
obviously why Cats was being shown. But I'll agree, or I'll admit it. I probably will buy tickets and go see that with the fiance.
yeah, that'll be good. Okay, last note. The only one, I don't know, have you seen this trailer dropping for a movie called The Hunt?
I haven't watched it because I saved it as a video because I saw it pop up on social media. So it's like the most dangerous game.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
book
is
that
it
we
really
read.
like
Yeah.
hunting humans?
So basically,
it's basically the rich hunt
yeah, why don't you tell it, Tyler?
that's it. Less affluent folks,
Yeah.
essentially.
So basically,
So like the Purge, but more.
It's like The
organized.
Purge,
directed by
Hunger
the people that
Games.
made The Purge.
It's like
Dude, the Purge
Hunger
one
Games.
was such an interesting concept, and then they just
Yeah, so I
really
read
butchered the rest of
right, and I've read
the rest of the.
I never saw any
sequels.
of them.
So the first one was really cool, but it only took place. Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones.
the
is
mom in it,
she's
right?
the mom. Yeah, she's a good guy.
That's weird.
But it focuses entirely on one family trying to stay safe inside their home, and then the next one went to more of like an open world thing, which said the first time I saw the first one, I was like, that would be more interesting if they showed people out in the open instead of just barricaded in their home. But they just, I don't know, they didn't. Dude, I could
I
have.
was reading a little.
Not that I could have done a better job, but I just wasn't super impressed. But I was really excited when I originally saw the concept for it because I was like, "Yeah, this is exactly what I said they need to do."
Is it more of a horror movie? Is it like a thriller?
No, it's more of a
suspense?
thriller. It's like in the same vein as Taken, I would say.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah.
The Strangers. It's like you're being chased and you're locked in your house.
Strangers is
and you're-
scary. That's a horror movie.
Stranger is scary. What's a thriller?
It's
I
not
say
really a horror movie.
anything-
It's like The Omen.
Oh, it's got Hilary Swank.
I feel like it's who is
Yeah.
Hilary Swank? Who's
Hilary
that?
Swank is from $1 Million Baby, and is it Hilary
I'm
Swank
bad with
that's in Miss
actresses.
Congeniality, or no?
That is Sandra Bullock, I think.
That is Sandra Bullock. You're right. Okay, two different people. Also, Emma Roberts is in it, who she had a show on Nickelodeon.
Is that Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
I was like,
That is Kevin
I
Hart.
was
my
like,
man.
where
Kevin
was it?
Hart.
That's Kevin Hart.
Hillary Swank in Miss Congeniality. I'm like, was she basically an extra?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I don't know. It looks really good.
Yeah, it
Supposedly,
does.
it's like a really low budget film.
It is. I heard it's like
$18 million.
million. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, to
Those
me,
are
that's like,
stupid.
holy shit, that's expensive. I'm like, Jesus.
It would take me a lifetime to raise that money to even film that.
Yeah.
It's low budget.
You're like, oh, it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you spending on normal movies?
Seriously.
Jeez.
I have
And
no
here we
idea.
are, like, crapping on these
Speaking of like normal movies and
hundreds
things,
of millions of dollars in budget.
and to give you an idea, I heard like going back to not going back to anything. Marvel, they don't own the rights to Spider-Man technically. Sony does, and Sony only agreed to play with Marvel to keep using their Tom Holland Spider-Man as if their movie cleared $1 billion, and in the opening weekend it was like 984 million or something like that.
So Sony was like, damn it.
Yeah. So like to me though, I hear that and I'm like saying I hear 18 million. I'm like, my God. And then I hear them making $1 billion in a weekend. I'm like, my mind just cannot fathom what goes behind all that.
Sony was like, all right, who are the number guys that decided on that?
Yeah.
That sucks. But
Anyway.
hey, that's awesome.
That's our movie catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we
now
got done concerts, we've done movies.
that we spent 45 minutes rehashing stuff that we literally could have just talked about on the phone at any other point in time, we want to go ahead and what was that? We want to go ahead and jump into sports here. Yeah. So I honestly have not been paying as close of attention as I would like. Unfortunately,
Sorry for my laughter.
Unfortunately, I'm without cable and internet for
Really?
until next Monday, and I've been without it, obviously for this week and the past week.
Thought you were rich.
It's a cleanse.
Oh. Is it? Oh,
That actually
it
would
is.
probably be good for the soul, like once
I mean, to make
like
fun of
1
you.
week a year or something.
Well, I have a phone, so
Yeah. It's just, I stopped wearing a watch when I moved to Hawaii.
It's like
I mean,
it's like intermittent
I
fasting.
mean, there's a clock on my phone, but
yeah.
still.
I mean, it's a principle thing.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had been like pretty up on watching baseball. I got the MLB network, so it's kind of it's really nice. Basically, you have every single game that's being played, and God knows there's a million baseball games. But it's
Yeah.
just nice, like if you're climbing into bed and you want to watch a live game, you can pick up one on the West Coast for two teams that you don't really care about,
Yeah.
and watch a couple innings and go to bed, or if there's other ones that you want to keep up on. So I had been watching a fair amount of baseball. I watched some of the tennis. The BB&T Atlanta Open actually was just taking place.
Yeah,
I
we
think it's
saw
still is it still going on?
Still set up. I
They're
don't know if
definitely still set
playing.
up. Yeah, I see it on the way home from work every day.
So there's one major gripe that I had about the BB&T Atlanta Open. Have you guys ever gone to a match there or attended it or watched it or anything like that?
Well,
seen
it
a
is on
movie.
Inwigo. The
Yeah.
early matches. I
That's
guess
not-
there's like 2 blocks of
That's
admission.
not a surprise.
I've seen
I mean,
a movie Atlantic Station.
Yeah.
That's where I saw Lion King.
Yeah.
Is that a play?
If we want to circle back and talk about Lion King for another
Yeah.
30 minutes.
So
to producer Dave says we can't.
Producer Dave shaking his head.
So the BB&T Atlanta Open was actually, I interned for the USTA during college and was basically doing like marketing and promotions for them, and that was the first year that they were holding it at Atlantic Station. So it was a big,
That's tennis. No one else knows what that is.
yeah, sorry,
USTA.
that's tennis, United States Tennis Association. And they had a tournament in Atlanta, but it wasn't really well publicized. It didn't get a lot of talent. And for an area that attracts a lot of tennis talent, and fun fact, ALTA, which is the Atlanta Lawn Tennis Association, is the largest private tennis organization in the world outside of the United States Tennis Association. So Atlanta has a major, like, grassroots, everyday player foundation in this area. So they moved it to Atlantic Station, which is a great venue and all that kind of stuff. But I've noticed, like, over the years, when they first had it there, like, they had Andy Roddick. He was still playing. I wouldn't say he was in his prime by any means, but he was still playing. They had John Isner, who's a Georgia grad.
I remember that.
Was hot on the tour. He's still doing fairly well. They had James Blake, Robbie Ginepri, who's an who's a local Alpharetta guy.
Big Robbie Ginepri guy.
Leighton Hewitt from Australia.
Left-hander.
Love
Lefty,
him.
right?
Yeah, so basically, they had all these people that were still relevant. Today, they're still trying to rely on literally that exact same talent to come back and play basically like exhibition matches, which is really annoying. Like, they literally brought back Andy Roddick and Robbie Ginepri, who have been retired for like 7 years to play. So that would be like watching washed up guys no longer in their prime who literally, I mean, sure, they could get out there and hit a ball around, but it's like you need to start bringing in new talent.
It's kind of like Disney were to remake a movie again, just with a little
Again
bit of
and
graphics
again.
and stuff. They expect you to come
Is-
pay and
is
watch
there-
that. You know, it's kind
So
of.
is there a
It's
way?
just woefully worse.
Is there a way to incentivize players other than just is the pot itself basically the only thing that, unless it's something like Wimbledon that, like, even if you're playing for free, it's obviously got that prestige. But if you're like a startup tournament, is it just the winners
So I wouldn't
pot or whatever you want to call it?
I wouldn't even say the incentive is so much money as it is the points towards their rankings.
Okay.
So it would be like some golfers going and playing some lower end tournaments to help boost their rankings. It's the same thing. I mean, they do it all around the majors. So, like, for instance, when they go and play Wimbledon, right, there's other grass tournaments that go on prior to and after Wimbledon that help to contribute to their overall world ranking. So that's a big draw for some young talent in Atlanta. So like John Isner was basically like the headlighting talent here. They brought Venus Williams in, who again is
Did she just get beat by a 15-year-old from Atlanta?
She hasn't been relevant in
She's from Atlanta.
6-7 years.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
So Madison Keys is I think she might be from Atlanta, but again, like another up and coming talent. But they just aren't able to attract the big names. I think because the point threshold for winning the tournament is much lower than something like it used to be the Sony Ericsson Open in Miami, or like Indian Wells, or there's an Indianapolis Open. Like, those carry a
I
heavy.
wouldn't recommend going to that.
No,
Indianapolis,
just the city.
not a big fan.
Yeah, I mean, either way, like, those point tournaments are so low. It's just a shame because, like, I think that's such a cool venue. I think Atlanta has obviously one of the biggest tennis bases in the country. But it's just kind of disappointing.
Could they petition to the PGA or whoever's in charge of that for that tournament to be worth more points towards your ranking, or how do you do that?
I think they could, but to put it in perspective, when Andy Roddick came and played for his first year there, they paid him more than the entire tournament would have paid out if he had won
They
it.
have the option to do that. They
Yeah.
can pay players just to show up.
Yeah. So they paid him
Huh.
more than what he would have won had he won the whole tournament just to come and play. So if he would have lost in his first match, which he totally could have just thrown that first match and walked away with that check, he would have made more than the winner of that entire tournament. So I don't think the money is at all an incentive.
Does golf work that way?
No idea.
I don't-
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I guess I only ever watch golf tournaments that people, like I
Care
said,
about.
like Wimbledon,
Right.
in terms of golf, that people are going to play in whether there's money on the line or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of PGA Tour events, but I feel like even those other ones, like, you get a lot of big name players at. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge. That would be a question for like Kyle Hardaway, one of our good golf friends.
I'm not sure whether he listens or not.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Like,
he's
probably not.
Definitely does.
Does he?
Yeah, he lives in Flowery
All
Branch. What
right,
else
shout
is there
out
to do?
Kyle. It's
Yeah, that's
actually his birthday today.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kyle.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Kyle.
29. 29.
yeah.
It's his birthday as of recording.
Happy birthday, Kyle.
He got a big green egg, so we'll
Yeah.
have to all
Yeah, very
go
exciting.
up there and have him cook for us.
Try his
soon.
new meats.
Yeah, he's probably asleep already. He's been married for a couple of years, so
It's true.
yeah,
It is
I think he's
8:06.
turning in early. But yeah, that would be a question to ask Kyle and find out like how that tournament draw shakes out. But I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing because Atlanta is kind of a micro mecca for tennis. So I don't know, but it's fun if you guys ever get the chance to go and check out a match. I would say give it a shot, give it a chance. It's in a cool location and
Give it an old swing of the racket.
yeah. If you've never seen a professional tennis match, seeing it live, I think definitely has a different effect than if you were to just watch it on.
I believe
TV.
that. I think that'd be cool to watch live and watch like the speed of the serve and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Melissa's mom is big into tennis, so I know whenever there is something on, she has it on the TV all day in the background.
Really?
I bet you watching tennis on what equates to the sidelines instead of the way TV shows it, which is what equates to the end zones, would be pretty interesting because it's just like baseball. When you watch a pitcher pitch, from behind the ball, you lose perspective on how fast the ball's going. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then if you happen to sit along the first or the third baseline live at a game and you can actually see the ball go by, you're like, oh my God, that ball is going so fast.
Yeah.
So I feel like tennis would be the same way.
Especially in the chop house, we can totally see that ball
definitely
being thrown 90s of miles an hour.
Yeah.
When I'm ordering a drink at the chop house and I look up and see the replay on the
Wow,
TV.
look at that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I've caught myself watching the game on the TV in the chop house and being like, well, it's literally happening right behind me on like a 3-second delay. So I should probably watch the actual game.
Yeah. But anyway, what else is going on in sports? I'll tell you what. The
Braves.
dogs.
Okay, dogs are so
We're going
back.
to the dogs. The dogs are starting back fall camp, not spring. It's fall camp this Thursday. We report Thursday. Actually, don't put the pads on and practice until Friday. So that'll be exciting. And I guess we get practice all the way up until first game, which is in Nashville versus Vanderbilt. I believe, did they announce the kickoff time? Is it a night game?
I think 7 o'clock.
I think it is 7, which is Central. So that'll be a fun.
Or no, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central.
That would make sense.
But it's a night game. I feel like I was actually somebody that went to pharmacy school texted me today and was asking about the tailgate scene and stuff in Nashville. And I was telling her, I don't even know because when Tyler and I have gone up there, it tends to be a noon game, which is 11 o'clock Central. Mm-hmm. So we just kind of show up for the game.
Are they on Central Time?
They're on Central Time in Nashville. So, yeah, we would kind of show up, watch the game. They don't have a strong tailgate scene. Their high school their stadium is basically a high school stadium.
Yep.
We would win, and then the rest of the weekend was more about being in Nashville and actually watching Vanderbilt versus Georgia. But this game, I think, well, obviously it's a night game.
Are you guys going up for that?
No.
I'm going to be out of the country, actually. So I'm not going up.
We got a few
What's
friends
the date of the
31st?
August 31st, Labor Day weekend. So it would have been fun, but I think all the hotels and Airbnbs sold out so early, and then it's hard to pay all that money to go up and watch a game that it's like, if we kill them, then that's business as usual because we should. If we don't kill them, it could end up being a long season because we should.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't necessarily want to, break the bank in week one.
Sure.
When I plan on this being a very long, very expensive, very fun season.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a break the bank kind of game, but I do think it'll be you're going to overpay just because it's opening weekend. It's in Nashville. It's on a long weekend for a holiday weekend for Labor Day, and then obviously we're coming in as a top 4, top 5 team, so they know that they know what they have there. And they'll be excited themselves, but I guess inflates the price of that game.
I would. Okay, so this is just a side note. I've never been to Nashville, so
never been to Nashville, or you've never been to a Vanderbilt game?
Either.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm looking for an excuse to go up there, but maybe that's not the time. Maybe I'll just sideline that and
wait till it's
go to Nashville for the heck of going to Nashville instead of going for a game.
I wouldn't say go on CMA Fest. It's fun, but it's crazy. And then
help yourself.
And then I would love. I mean, I think you should go up for a Georgia game because you can have the Georgia gear on. You'll go out. You'll have a reason to celebrate, guaranteed, because they're trash. And then you're going to be in Nashville, which is a fun time. But I want to, even before we get to that, I want to talk about what do you think about, or what do you want to see, or anything you're excited about before we even get to Nashville, before the season starts.
So in terms of like what we get out of practice reports and stuff?
Yeah, just like what are you looking most forward to the season? Because we don't have the sexiness of like a quarterback competition or anything. This Jake Fromm is it.
So you're talking about before the season even starts?
Yeah, so like we're about to start practice Friday. Leading in, I mean, what do you guys?
I mean, in terms of, I don't know if this
everybody's
really
staying healthy.
Yeah, I don't know if this really fits the answer to Tyler's question, but I think like over the course of the season, more so is when we'll get the feel for it. But to me, it's going to be like negative yardage plays, what the advanced statistics would call havoc plays. Mm-hmm. As good as our defense has been the last couple years, and 2 years ago in particular, when Roquan was just like a tackling machine, we were a top 10 defense in terms of points and in terms of yards, but we've never been a super high-ranked defense in terms of sacks, in terms of tackles for losses. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the past several national champions, that correlates more closely to success than just yards or points does. So Kirby's been pretty vocal about that this offseason. I think that we finally have the outside linebacker room. You know, the talent is starting. Tyler and I have talked about this multiple times on the show, but you can have talent and you can have age, but those have to kind of be working in harmony, because there's certain positions that it's just really, really hard for a freshman to step on the field and make an impact in the SEC. So I think that it's all sort of coming together. I think this is the most complete roster we've had. So for me, I'd like to see it. Yeah, defensively. I'd like to see a big uptick in negative plays. Obviously, sacks in particular, but any sort of negative yardage
plays.
Start
with the front
huge.
seven.
So that's going to be my biggest thing. Some of these, sophomore and junior edge rushers that were 5 stars coming in their own. We've got a senior, redshirt senior, junior, like an upperclassman defensive line on the interior, which to me is very important. And then Nakobe Dean has
they've been raving about
he's
him.
Going to be a true freshman out of Mississippi. Has an inside track to start at inside linebacker. Though they're saying he looks like a little Roquan Smith clone out there.
Well,
so
we played a lot with the first team on G-Day too.
Yeah,
a lot.
So
kind of saw that to begin.
I'm
with.
rambling, but long story short,
no, I like it.
Havoc plays, negative plays. I think is the thing that I don't know that we'll hear about it in fall camp necessarily.
Right.
I do think that on a day-to-day basis, our offensive line is the best offensive line that our defensive line will see until maybe Bama. So if they're having a good fall camp, if we're hearing through the grapevine, you know,
you think
Sam
our
Pitt,
defensive line is the best that our offensive line will see?
No, I'm saying our offensive line is the best that our defensive line will see all season. So if we're getting practice reports that are like, you know, Sam Pittman was pissed today because, you know, Jake Fromm kept getting sacked and the defensive line was just having a day, to me that is just going to be, you know, I don't know. Hopefully, a sign of things to come for the rest of the season.
I think that's like one of the top 3 things in my mind that you need to have. What about you, Will? Anything you're excited to see, or a player, or anything?
I mean, honestly, like just getting out of the practice and into the season, everybody staying healthy. I mean, I can tell you. Well, here, let me ask you guys this: what game are you most looking forward to seeing this season?
I think you have to put like a top 3 on that.
Yeah, I think tough. I mean, Notre Dame is obviously the marquee game.
Yeah.
I don't know that Notre Dame is going to be the best team that we face. I mean, I honestly don't keep up too much with them. But
we'll have to get John back in here when we get closer to that game.
I've been keeping up and listening and reading some stuff about Notre Dame anyway. And I know they lost 4 of their top, what they would consider like their top 4 defenders production-wise. All 4 are gone, either to graduating or go to the NFL. They get Ian Book back, their quarterback, and then you lose a little bit of depth there, but you're not going to play 2 guys with who was Brandon Wimbush. He transferred to somewhere exciting, I think. Or no, UCF.
He went to UCF? Okay.
Yeah. Which maybe they can repeat or whatever the hell they're claiming as national champions.
He's just hunting rings.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean,
the Kevin Durant of college football, if you will.
I think they will be good looking at – I mean, because last year, obviously, they were a playoff team. I think they weren't elite on defense. They were good on defense, and I think they were, weren't elite. They weren't elite in any way. Like Oklahoma was extremely elite on offense, but absolute crappy on defense. So I think we're getting a lesser version of that with this year's Notre Dame team. But I think again, it's the marquee game. We got to figure things. I guess week 4 is our first real test for us. We've had a lot of attrition at wide receiver. We still have some unknowns, I would say, in the backfield. We benefit, like Jimmy and I have always talked about, a great offensive line will help your woes for everybody. For a quarterback, getting his feet wet and buying time. Luckily, we have Fromm, so they're 2 positives working together. We do have DeAndre Swift. We have a guy like Brian Harrion who's been there, done that. From everything I read, I think we're a little too high on Brian Harrion as far as like.
You think we're too high?
People are. I think he's a senior. He's been here, done that. And they're relying on that. And Brian has definitely shown a lot of positives in some games, but over the course of his career, here he is as a senior. There's a reason he hasn't been part of that 1, 2, even 3-piece monster that we've always had.
I think for in terms of us having the most success, it feels goofy because to root for one guy to get more touches, somebody else has got to lose touches, and you obviously want to see all these guys succeed. But I think for us to play at our ceiling, we'd probably need Zamir White to sort of replace Brian Harrion as the number 2 guy behind Swift.
Well,
I feel like the Florida game tends to be kind of the benchmark for like, okay, now it's November. That game, a lot of the time, sort of decides the East.
Yep.
So it's like we have a bye before it always. So it's like get healthy during the bye, beat Florida, and then we can really start to look forward to, and Kirby probably hates it because Kirby is so like, get in, win, get out, never think about anything except this game, never. But as fans, we can kind of start to look ahead, say, okay, we've got the East wrapped up, assuming we can. Well, in the past, it's been like, can we beat Kentucky or whatever? This year, it's actually Auburn A&M after Florida, so we do need to stay a little more focused.
Definitely. And Missouri, we got Missouri in between.
Yeah, that's a trap game.
In between Florida,
I think their offense is going to be good. But
and Kelly Bryant's going to be different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be.
But yeah, in terms of us playing at our ceiling, having our most talented guys on the field, assuming everybody's healthy, I think maybe that bye week going into Florida, you see Zamir White kind of make a move past a parent on the depth chart. I think that would mean that we're living our best lives as Georgia fans at that point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I absolutely agree with all that. I guess circle back around to Notre Dame being the marquee game, just because I'm not sure Zamir will be there yet.
Yeah,
so we just have we have a little bit more unknown behind a number one guy running back, Swift, which we haven't had. Luckily, we've had an embarrassment of riches in Bulldog Nation as far as the running back position goes. We've always had a solid 2 and then like a 3 and even a 4. So this is the first year we kind of don't know. And then obviously with the attrition at receiver, we kind of have a lot of unknown guys, unproven guys out there. So heading into Notre Dame, that does worry me a little bit because I don't, even if we have a few guys step up, which will be huge in those earlier 3 weeks for confidence, that's going to be your first true test, obviously.
Yeah.
Granted, in a favorable environment, but that's why that game to me is just, again, it kind of, I said this a lot about South Carolina last year. I thought South Carolina on the road so early was going to be what's going to hang us up. We came out of the gate with that pick 6, and it was like never looked back, and it was just a great game.
It wasn't technically a pick 6.
Well, he dropped it and scoop and score, yeah. But similar to that game, I probably gave South Carolina too much credit and us not enough credit for being ready and being a younger team and having some unknowns in other positions, which you always will every year.
Yeah.
So maybe at this point I should trust Kirby because we have a lot of guys coming back that have seen playing time.
Yeah.
It's just that game has so much extra juice in it from what we did in South Bend to what it is now. Well, it will definitely be a top 10 matchup. So,
yeah, that game will be exciting. I think if you're a Notre Dame coach or Notre Dame fan, I mean, if you're looking at Georgia and you're trying to pick out a weakness, you're going to say, well, since J.J. Holloman got kicked off the team, Swift is our leading returning receiver. I don't think we have a true receiver that had more than 100 yards last year. So, like, we've got a lot of talent in terms of high school ranking, but with not a lot of production from those guys. So I don't know that Notre Dame's going to be the team that's going to be able to do it just because our offensive line is going to be so good. But I do think, I mean, the blueprint to stop us is going to be
make the young, unproven receivers.
Make Fromm throw the ball, which has been everybody's plan for 2 years. It hasn't worked very often. Fromm's obviously a very good quarterback, but coaches seem to be more afraid of our running backs than they are Fromm, which is reasonable if you're having to pick your poison. And make them throw it to receivers that haven't really caught for very many balls for the University of Georgia. We have some transfers who have some stats from their previous schools, but so I don't know that it's going to be Notre Dame, but somebody eventually is going to succeed in stopping the run. So that'll be, I guess, it's a totally different question, but
well, I was going to ask outside
that'll be something that will be determine our success down the way.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, what I'm hearing from all of us or whatever is havoc plays or pressure from the defense. I guess running back depth, who's going to step up for that, and then obviously a go-to receiver or something. That to me tells me how the season's going to go.
Yeah,
we don't have to get all three of those things. I think in ranking, Jimmy nailed it on the head. The defense can help you immensely with anything, any kind of field position. Obviously, in kicking too. If we can get Camarda to get that punting down with a solid defense that grows, that can be.
If Camarda makes a big jump year 1 to year 2, we could have an argument for the number one, special teams. Team in the country because
Rodriguez.
I was gonna say I don't watch a ton of film on other teams' kickers, so I'm just gonna make a blind home Georgia pick and say we have the best kicker in the country because I feel like we probably do.
Yeah, I have to be up there. I know he's up there for the award. What is it, Ray Guy or is that punter?
Ray Guy is punter.
So I don't remember what the kicker one is.
Lou
Groza or
Groza.
Okay.
But I mean, we've got a punter that has all the natural talent in the world. He's just got to work on getting those punts the way
Nizilik.
I was never
Cameron
good at saying his name.
Yeah.
But he just was so good at finding that coffin corner, finding it to hit inside the 10 but bounce backwards because that's such a huge difference between starting on the 10 versus starting on the 20 from a touchback. And then I'm not totally sure who's going to be returning kicks for us.
That's going to be a mix. I have to be like Demetrius Robertson, James Cook, and Kearis Jackson. Maybe Blaylock. A little mix of all that.
I mean, to me, Cook and Robertson are more punt return guys because they're like shifty and real quick in space. I've seen Harrian's name thrown around as a kickoff returner, which you remember Todd Gurley used to return kicks for us. It's like when you have time to build up that head of steam.
Yeah.
They might want a guy whose body is more able to take a full-on collision and doesn't have to be as shifty in
That's
space.
a good point. Okay, I guess I didn't hear the question correctly. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. 'Cause we also had, I don't think we ever put Sony back there and Chubb, but didn't we have Holyfield back there sometimes last year, I think, too? So
I think Holyfield
right.
almost housed one against Notre Dame 2 years ago, but then it got called back because of holding or something. He had a real big kickoff return, I believe.
Well, outside Notre Dame, switching gears, what's the next game you think you're looking forward to the most?
Looking forward to or nervous about?
Let's go with nervous about. Looking forward to.
Kentucky,
Looking forward to is just glamour and hot.
So nervous about just in terms of history, like it's become a pattern at this point, has got to be Auburn. Our West opponent on the road, Kirby, has never won.
Yeah.
And we've lost all of them badly.
I guess that's a good point. This is our West road game this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way we got embarrassed 2 years ago, there's a lot of guys that are upperclassmen now that were freshmen then. I can't imagine us coming in as flat against them as we did in that game. I also don't think that Auburn will be a top five. I would say there's a better chance that Malzahn will no longer be the coach than there is that they are an undefeated top 5 team at that time.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's this perfect storm that we ran into 2 years ago, but just in terms of history repeating itself, I mean, we haven't lost a home game in 2 years, so it's hard to get too worried about any home games. Our away schedule is not terrible. I mean, Tennessee, I'm more worried about somebody getting injured than I am about losing the game, just when you look at talent. I mean, nothing against Tennessee, but we should beat them.
It's a change in tone.
I'm softening as far as Tennessee goes.
It's weak. What about you, Will?
But
or
yeah,
Jimmy, sorry,
definitely Auburn in terms of just I think their defensive line is going to be really, really good. They could be the team, like I said earlier, that manages to neutralize the run game. Jordan Hare, when it gets rocking, definitely is a tough place to play.
That will be probably the best defensive line we see until Alabama.
Or
Clemson.
I think theirs might be better than Alabama. I think they might have the best one in the country. So I think they have a very good chance to neutralize that run game. You know, Fromm is 2 years older. He's not a true freshman anymore. Andrew Thomas is obviously now an All-American left tackle, not a true freshman going against Jeff Holland. But Jeff Holland's in the NFL now, or maybe not on a roster, but he's not at Auburn. But he got abused in that game. So, you know, that's the one that makes me nervous. But at the same time, it's hard to see our upperclassmen now kind of.
Well, we could have said the same then, because it was Mecole like fumbling the punts and bobbling the punts, and we had so many bonehead plays that we just. And then was it Sony that fumbled? Someone thought we had a really bad
DeAndre
fumble.
Walker leaped over their long snapper on
that
a
was
punt.
an issue.
That was kind of
it was
a big turning point.
It was our
for the game.
upperclassmen that were kind of goofing off in that game. That was shooting ourselves.
So we'll see, but I think that Kirby is self-aware enough that I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he has the Auburn game circled now. A, because he probably doesn't like Auburn just because he was a Bama guy for 10 years. And B, because he's like, I don't want to let this become a thing that, Kirbying means losing
let's hope this
SEC West road game or something like that. Like Clemsoning used to be losing to an unranked opponent, and Dabo's pretty much wiped that out. So,
What about you, Will?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
good,
pretty
good pick, Jim.
Yeah, that's pretty that's pretty fair. I mean, I don't think anybody. I think Notre Dame obviously kind of scares me because it's a big game, and everybody's been talking about this for some time. It's going to be their first real test, but I would say probably Auburn after that.
Yeah, I don't see us losing Notre Dame because it's at home and just who we are, and I guess what we have versus them. But I agree that one.
I think a lot of people said that though when they went up to South Bend.
Yeah, but that was on the road. And even
that was also Jake Fromm's first start at night on the road, true freshman. I mean, there was a lot of things working against us in that game.
Yeah.
And we should have won it by at least a touchdown more than we had. Because remember when
Nicole
dropped
the drop
out wide open? Ooh.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, Tyler and I were at that game. We were not okay in that moment.
No, we weren't.
But we did have the Terry Godwin catch happen right in front of us.
That was very
probably
sexy.
only about 30 people in the stadium closer than us to that because we were corner end zone right where it happened. That was pretty cool.
That was very nice.
What about you?
For me, Auburn does worry me. I totally agree. To me, it has to be Florida, just because I think Florida isn't as – I don't want to call Auburn – we'll call their Auburn their front seven elite or their front three, I guess. Florida's more than capable of being the first team to stop the run. They'll be juiced up for that. It is on the road. It's away from home. And then they're just a little more figured out they're a little more settled at quarterback and on offense than Auburn. I think Auburn still has to figure some stuff out with who their quarterback is going to be. Auburn does have this tendency of they have a year where they underperform, and then they come roaring back, and then they're all about saving Malzahn's job again.
Yeah, that's
so I
the
agree
thing that
with
worries
you.
me about
It's the
Auburn.
inconsistency of could Auburn be 8-4 this season and rolling in, and Malzahn's fired, and we didn't put the nail in the coffin, and it's over for them before they even get to Tuscaloosa or wherever they play them this year. I think the nature of the East for Florida and how that's we'll know who both teams are by the time we play each one, right?
Yeah.
So this can obviously flip-flop as the season goes on. I'm sure we'll definitely cover it. Sorry for our mascot interrupting the audio here.
Here comes Kicks knocking around the.
But I just think Florida being a little more settled with Felipe Franks did come on a lot more at the end of the season. He progressed. Dan Mullen is an offensive guy. I don't like Dan Mullen. I think he's added some much-needed juice to the rivalry and made me annoyed with Florida. But there's still – it surprises me, but from what I've seen in the early preseason stuff, which all goes to crap once you start playing. But everyone seems to be consistently think they're in the top 9, top 8 even.
Yeah.
So they're given enough respect. And, I mean, we don't go in there and just, shut them up very easily. So it'll be a tough game. Again, I guess I only pick Florida over Auburn because of the consistency behind center with Felipe Franks and just how much more proven Dan Mullen is at bringing along quarterbacks than what Gus Malzahn is with a brand new quarterback. And Gus Malzahn also hasn't done a very good job with the guys they've brought in.
That he actually recruited.
Yeah. So but again, we could meet Auburn in November, and they've only lost one game. Auburn has a tough slate, I think, though.
They open with Oregon.
Which I think they lose just because Oregon's quarterback, I don't remember his name, but he came back.
Justin Herbert.
Which I don't know if all of you guys remember, but Justin Herbert staying at Oregon for his senior year is what sent Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State onto the draft, which then opens up Ohio State, which then takes Justin Fields on the way.
Oh, it's
funny
funny how those dominoes tend to fall.
Yeah, it's very interesting to watch all of that and see how that goes. So, and then a little sidebar, nothing UGA, somewhat UGA related, is I am excited to watch, finally, we get to see the return of skinny QB 10. The long and forgotten Jacob Eason starts for Washington. So it would be super cool to see. I'm not sure what the Pac-12 holds this year. I don't think USC. I've heard Utah is going to make a splash, but it would be so much fun to meet Jacob Eason in the playoffs and see him in his junior seseason.
I mean, I'll root for Eason. The way he handled everything in 2017 when he lost his job, everything you read was that he was still a great teammate. I felt he was just kind of a class act from everything I heard.
Yeah.
The way he handled that.
At least,
yeah, gave us some really good memories from Kirby's first year. That team wasn't particularly good, but that throw against Tennessee to Riley Ridley, even though we ended up losing,
short-lived.
that was amazing. The throw to Isaiah McKenzie to win the Missouri game on 4th down.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'll always root for Jacob Eason. Obviously, I'll root for him to have a slightly worse game than Fromm if we actually meet them in the playoffs.
Oh, a lot worse game, but I just want to see. I want to see him do well enough.
In terms of him playing wherever he goes in the NFL, I'll always root for Jacob Eason. Yeah. I think he'll always be a little bit of a Bulldog. So definitely excited to see him play a little bit.
Yeah, totally fair. Well, we've got a lot more conversation to come as the season builds up towards its ramp and eventual kickoff. But we want to thank everybody for joining us here. I know it's been quite some time since we've been able to record, but we want to thank everybody for sticking with us. Hopefully we'll get back to a more consistent schedule and bring much more sports and random Disney content.
And Disney movie reviews.
Yeah, coming your way.
We'll let you know how John Mayer was in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So once again, thanks again for joining us. Like, subscribe, share on all of your typical outlets. And go Dogs.
Go Dogs.